There's loads of factors that come into play when choosing the right e-mountain bike for you. Today, we're going to take a look at all those different choices out there and hopefully helping you choose the right e-mountain bike. Today's video is mostly about mid-drive e-mountain bikes. Now, we've previously done lots of different videos about hub drive e-mountain bikes, and they're going to be linked in the description down below. Little less cost to these bikes, but they're a little less capable. But if you want to know about those bikes, check it out down below. Now, before you commit to buying an e-mountain bike, there are some big questions you need to ask yourself. Firstly, where are you going to be riding that bike? Will it be on tarmac? Will it be surface trails? Or just some forest tracks? Or maybe you want to head out on a big mountain adventure, some cross country, or some monster bike park action. All of these require a certain bike for the job. You also need to think about how long you want to ride your e-bike for. Now, this is going to require you to look at the capacity and the size of the battery that's in your bike. Think about how many watt hours you will need for your intended rides. Now, another factor you definitely want to consider is your weight. Now, we'll be talking about power in depth a little later on. But if you're a bigger rider, you might want to think about getting those more powerful bikes with those bigger batteries. Budget is also super important too. Name your price before you start looking. Bikes start at around £1,000 up to £15,000. And there's plenty of bikes in between. And think about maintenance too. Who's going to be maintaining your bike? How much is it going to cost? Who's going to be doing it? And the last big question is, where are you going to buy your e-mountain bike from? Are you going to buy it from your local bike shop, which is great for some backup? You can buy it online, which is sometimes that little bit cheaper. Or maybe you can buy it direct from someone like our partner brand Canyon, which is great for price. You're going to get good backup and, of course, get that bike delivered to your door. Now, once you've answered some of those bigger questions, you can really get into the nitty-gritty and fine-tune the bike that you really want. And first up, I'm going to start with the power that the bike delivers. Now, there's three main categories here. You have the full-powered bikes, such as this one. You have those mid-assist bikes and those light-assist bikes too. Now, you'll find out how much power the bike has by the torque figures that are going to be in the bike's specifications. In those light assist bikes, we're talking around 30 Newton meters of torque. Mid assist bikes, 50 Newton meters. And those full powered bikes, well, they're going to be anything above 80 Newton meters and above. And it's essential that you try each of these bikes out before you commit to buying one. Full powered bikes are great for those heavier riders or riders that want that little bit more assistance on tap for when they're tackling that more extreme technical terrain. Then we have those low to mid assist bikes, the new breeder bikes that are out there. We have great examples such as the Specialized Turbo Levo SL. Now, this has 35 Newton meters of torque. Then we have the Trek Fuel EXE, 50 Newton meters of torque. And then bikes such as the Transition Relay Fazua system with 60 Newton meters of torque. And these bikes are lightweight too. We're talking sub 20 kilos. And the silhouette of these bikes, well, they're very difficult to actually differentiate between a mountain bike and an e-mountain bike with these. And these bikes are very much stepping stones between e-mountain bikes and mountain bikes. And again, try before you buy with these. And be honest about where you're going to be riding these bikes and who you're going to be riding these bikes with. And if your friends have got full-powered e-mountain bikes, you're probably going to need one too. And something that's really critical when it comes to choosing your e-mountain bike is the amount of suspension that's on it, the travel that's on it. Now, it could be that you could be quite happy with just a hardtail e-mountain bike with a suspension fork up front. But here on EMBN, we definitely recommend getting a full suspension bike with suspension front and rear. Now, the travel on these can vary between 120 to around 200 mil for those big, long travel bikes. But the most common travel you're likely to find on an e-mountain bike is likely to be around 150 mil. Now, this will allow you to do everything you're currently doing on your bike, but will allow you to do much, much more. It's going to be a very capable bike if you were to expand your riding horizons. Now, one of the biggest factors when it comes to choosing that right e-mountain bike for you is going to be the motor that powers your bike along. Now, there's a couple of choices here. First up is going to be those hub drive motors that are in the rear of the bike. Yes, they are cheap and they make e-biking very accessible. but when it comes to off-road situations, they're just that little less capable. But if you're choosing a full-powered mid-drive e-mountain bike, you're going to have a huge list of motors that you can choose from. Now, the big heavy hitters are going to be Brose, Bosch, Shimano, Yamaha, and Panasonic. The list literally goes on. But whilst there's subtle differences between each of these motors in terms of the noise that they deliver, the power that they deliver to, and of course the ride characteristics, the service and the backup, loads of different things going on with them. But one thing I can guarantee is each one of those motors is going to give you an awesome ride. And then we have those motors in the mid-assist and light assist bikes. Now these come in from the companies such as TQ with their HPR50, we have the specialized SL motor, we have the Shimano EPA RS, and of course that Fazua Ride 60 system, which we're seeing in a lot of bikes these days. Now the ride of these bikes does vary massively, so you need to get along to a test day and really try out these bikes and see which one suits you. And also don't forget, if you are riding a full powered mountain bike, you can dial that assist down in eco mode to replicate something that you would get from one of these light assist bikes too. So do those lower power bikes give you more of a workout than those high powered bikes? Well, the choice is ultimately yours when it comes to that ride, whether you're going to be the passenger or the rider of that bike, whether you're going to sit back and enjoy it or put the effort in. But one thing those low powered bikes aren't quite as capable as those full powered bikes is when it comes to technical hill climbs, because they simply haven't got the same torque as their bigger brothers. And most motor manufacturers will offer an app, which means you can connect your smartphone to your bike via Bluetooth, and within the app there is so much going on. You can actually tune your motor within the app. You can look at the motor data, you can look at things such as route navigation, you can see the rides that you've been on and the data that your bike has produced within that phone. There's so much going on with these things. There's also plenty of choice when it comes to the display and the controls that you have on your e-bike's handlebars. Say for instance, companies such as Bosch, well, they offer a wide range of different displays and controls. They have a very minimalist design, which is great if you crash a lot, it's not going to get damaged. But if you want all that data right in your face, well, there's an option for that too. The amount of fuel in your tank. Watt hours, remember, will determine how far and how high you can ride. Most full-powered e-mountain bikes are now 500 watt hours to 750 watt hours on average. And it's almost impossible to give you exact figures of range. It simply depends on things such as your weight, the surface conditions, mode used, height and distance travelled. And light to mid-assist bikes, well, they tend to have smaller batteries around 360 watt hours with the option of a plug-in range extender. But don't forget with these bikes, because of that lesser draw from the battery delivering lower power, the range of these bikes is quite similar to some of those with the bigger batteries on those full powered bikes. As a general rule, if you like riding tough terrain and doing loads of climbing, then go for that bigger battery. But if you're a lighter rider or perhaps ride mellower trails, then you might not need that bigger battery. The method of fixing the battery to your frame also needs some careful consideration too. Some brands actually spec bikes with a battery inbuilt into the frame, meaning you cannot remove the battery from the bike, and that bike needs to be charged as a whole unit rather than just the battery. But some brands will have batteries that can become easily removable with just a key. Some are quick release, or some are just held in place with a simple bolt. But you need to think about this. Say for instance, if you were traveling with your e-bike and you wanted to charge it up, some hotels won't let you wheel a whole bike into your room to charge it, but will be really happy with just a battery on charge in your room. Or say for instance, if you live in a high-rise flat, you don't want to be wheeling your bike up to that top step of the flat just to charge it. Just take the battery. Definitely think about this one. And the last thing you need to choose is what size frame is the correct one for you. And don't forget, sizing can vary massively from brand to brand. Say for instance, giant size large is a very different to a Trek size large, for instance. And all that information is going to be on the manufacturer's website in the geometry section. So make sure you check that out. Just make sure you're getting some sound advice on what size is the correct bike for you. Could be one of the hardest things to actually choose about getting that right bike for you. So there you go, a bunch of information on hopefully helping you choose the right e-mountain bike for you. Get involved in the comments box down below. Let us know which bike you ended up buying in the end. It'd be good to hear from you guys. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to us here on EMBN, and we shall see you in the next one.